think he's smaller than me. So I don't want to focus on it being like about Jake. Oh, Jake's small, so that makes me confident. Jake's this, so that makes me confident. I'm just focused on myself. I'm confident in myself. Jake could be 10th, I'm confident in myself. That's what I'm saying. It's not about how he is. I just.
Yeah, yes, long run.
You do some pads today?
Yes, sir. Do some pads. Yeah, we're going to do some pads today. And then technique and all that stuff, you know. No fight is easy. No matter how hard you train and how you just got to get lucky. You know, so what we're training for now is just to get lucky.
Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua are training harder than ever as fight night gets closer. With only 5 days left, AJ is working on his power, fitness, and technique. While Jake is focusing on speed, timing, and accuracy, inside his camp, Jake is very confident, studying every detail and preparing for every moment. He believes his training will help him surprise everyone when the fight begins.
The fact that it's a harder challenge for me. People had a lot of excuses against Gervonta and, oh, it's a smaller guy, blah, 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 the weight difference. And now I flip-flop the roles. Everyone thinks I'm gonna die and they don't know what I'm capable of. And so being the underdog and being able to go in there and showcase what I'm gonna do to Anthony is more exciting for me.
Anthony Joshua goes into training knowing that no fight is ever easy. He respects Jake Paul as a serious opponent and trains with full focus and intensity. AJ continues to improve his technique, strength, and endurance, pushing himself to the limit. Every punch and drill has a purpose, and every movement is sharp. His mindset is clear. He is taking no risks and preparing carefully to face Jake Paul with the...
How much work goes into them sessions. It's going to be a tough fight. No fight is easy. No matter how hard you train and how you just got to get lucky. You know, so what we're training for now is just to get lucky. Miss a punch that could have hurt, catch you with a punch that's going to hurt him. So it's kind of like when they say...
As the countdown continues toward one of the most unexpected fights in boxing history, Jake Paul shows strong confidence. In a recent interview, Paul said he believes he can knock out Anthony Joshua, pointing to moments when AJ has been hurt before. He mentioned that smaller fighters have troubled Joshua in the past, suggesting that the former champion is not unbeatable. Jake said he believes he has the power to hurt Joshua and feels fully prepared to shock the world. These comments added excitement to a fight that fans and experts are closely watching. A key part of this matchup is the mental battle. Jake's public statements are meant to boost his own confidence and create doubt in Joshua's mind. Meanwhile, Joshua remains calm and focused, showing his experience in dealing with pressure. Experts say the psychological side of this fight is just as important as the physical contest, adding another layer to the
style, and styles make fights. We all know that. He's lost to guys who are shorter mostly and lighter mostly, and faster than him. I see holes in his game. I see punches that I can land that can hurt him. Now, he can definitely land punches on me, knock me out. He's more experienced, Olympic gold medalist, 2-time heavyweight champion of the world. This is definitely insane. I have to fight a perfect fight to be able to beat this guy, but I think that I'm capable of that. And to me, at the end of the day, all of this is experience, all of this is fun, all of this is getting in there and continuing to improve my skills as I work toward a world championship in my own weight class. I'm fighting at heavyweight.
Oh, we lost him. They're trying to bog him down.
At the end of the day, I'm going in there and I'm getting better.
You're fighting at heavyweight. You cut off real quickly whenever you said you're fighting at heavyweight. How much weight is that more? How much heavier are you fighting at this for this particular fight?
Yes, I'm fighting like 50 pounds out of my weight class. Normally I fight at 200 and Anthony Joshua will be around 250.
Okay, so this fight's happening. There's people that have mentioned, like, there's no way this fight is actually happening, just strictly because of what you just said right there. I mean, the weight difference, everything else. Signing up for this because you're supposed to fight somebody else, Tank backs out, now you fight Anthony Joshua. I think there's a lot of people that think this is all some gimmick because of what you just said right there. This is not the case. You understand that you're going in there with a man who's not supposed to fight somebody that is at your weight. He's supposed to be fighting heavier people that are bigger people, which in theory, stronger people, maybe more durable people. There's weight classes for a reason. In your mind, that is just, hey, this is a challenge I need to take on. That's kind of the mindset that you've taken?
Yeah, for sure. The fight is definitely happening first and foremost. We're 9 days away right now. But at the end of the day...
Spectacle. David Hay and Johnny Nelson. discussed the pressure surrounding the Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua fight and explained how different it is for each fighter. They said Joshua cannot afford a single mistake. Unlike Paul, AJ is expected to control the fight from the opening round, land clean power shots, and avoid getting hurt or pushed back. Any slip could harm his reputation as a former world champion. And Nelson stressed that Joshua carries huge pressure because he must win convincingly to protect his legacy. On the other hand, Jake Paul has far less pressure. As the underdog, anything he does well is seen as impressive. The analyst also warned that Paul is taking a serious risk by facing a heavyweight champion, while Joshua must perform nearly perfectly to meet expectations.
Joshua can't win in round 3. Anthony Joshua needs to win in the first round and win devastating. He can't be getting clipped with shots. He can't get him pushed back. He has to have the cleanest performance
and if it
of his
lasts
whole
that long,
career.
Jake Paul needs to be holding on to it for dear life to last that long.
Yeah, so
Jake Paul commercially has just as much to lose and can affect his commercial elevation if he does anything less than be his best. Commercially, he doesn't need Jake Paul.
I think the pressure's on Jake Paul. The pressure's not on Anthony Joshua. Sorry, the pressure's on Anthony Joshua. The pressure is not on Jake Paul because no one's expecting Jake Paul to do anything. So he's free. Whatever happens, he's gone out there and done something extraordinary. He's put himself in harm's way, to try to achieve this crazy goal. So but Anthony Joshua, on the other hand, he's only doing it for the cash, for the money, and that's cool.
Yeah.
But he can't look bad. He can't get knocked down. He can't get a cut. He can't be missing wildly. He has to have a punch-perfect performance to justify, just like Ngannou. If he has the same performance against Ngannou,
job's done.
The job's done. But is he going to be motivated enough to be able to switch on? Because he was razor sharp. I was there ringside with you watching that fight, and that was as sharp as I've seen AJ look.
And the other thing is, Ngannou looked scary. Jake Paul doesn't.
Yeah.
And Ngannou was thick, thick,
big
and that
man,
wide.
big
I was interviewing him, so next I'm thinking, damn, you're getting in with him.
Yeah.
And now you're thinking, if this guy gets one shot off, Jake Paul doesn't have any of that about him. So you're not looking at him thinking, he might get a
if you
shot.
look at Jake Paul's training footage, he puts out snippets all over his kind of social media and on YouTube. It looks like his secret weapon for the fight against AJ is his...
Both fighters are working extremely hard in their training camps. Analysts like Henry have looked closely at Jake Paul's preparation and noted that while his heavy bag work looks powerful, it may not fully prepare him for a real fight with Joshua. Hitting a bag is very different from facing an experienced heavyweight in the ring. Henry warned fans not to be fooled by training clips, saying the real test comes on fight night. Meanwhile, Anthony Joshua is training with great attention to detail. Even after time away from competition, AJ remains strong and focused on stamina, accuracy, and defense. His camp shows how experience and discipline play a major role in preparing for a fight of this level. The contrast between Paul's unusual approach and Joshua's traditional training adds to the excitement of the matchup.
It's got a lot of people getting quite excited, in the comments in particular, saying, wow, he's improved so much. Look at the technique. He actually might cause problems. The sort of wide-eyed emoji. Is he going to cause an upset? Now, look, I don't give two shits how you look on the heavy bag. I'm going to be very honest with you. Do you know how many guys I see in the boxing gym I train in who look absolutely sensational on the heavy bag and then wouldn't last 2 seconds against Anthony Joshua? The thing that the average person fails to understand is that looking good on the heavy bag, sure, it means you have a fundamental understanding of boxing technique, and clearly Jake has improved in that area. You'd hope so after years and years of training. But the thing that people don't understand about boxing is when you actually get in the ring with someone who's trying to beat you, who's trying to punch you in the face and break you, suddenly holding that shape becomes much, much more difficult when you're getting hit by shots, when you're taking them to the guard, when you're having to move your legs constantly, and more importantly, as you get tired. Even the best pros start to lose their shape when fatigue kicks in. That's why more knockouts can happen later as the fight goes on. So look, yeah, I did think he looked nice on the heavy bag. He's moving his feet well, his balance looked good, his hand positioning was good when he was throwing, his chin was tucked in, all the things you really look for in basic technique. Does it mean he has a hope in hell of being Anthony Joshua? Absolutely not. But at the same time, I'll admit, I understand what the hype is about. He looked pretty nice in that clip, but many people can, is my point. The final thing to address is this rumor that's been going around. I think it was Johnny Nelson who started it, that Don Charles has been brought into Jake Paul's training camp. There's been some news articles about it, but to be honest with you, I've not seen any photos. I've not seen any footage. I've seen absolutely nothing to indicate that Don Charles has been part of that camp. And in fact, Don Charles was tagged in a photo on Instagram a few days ago at an event he was at a boxing gym near Watford in the UK. So clearly he's not been actually involved in the camp, Will Jake Paul fly him out for fight week to try and disrupt Anthony Joshua? I mean, it's entirely possible. Obviously, Don Charles coached Daniel Dubois to the victory over.
Former world champion Paulie Malignaggi has shared his thoughts on the fight. While he praised Jake Paul's dedication to training and sparring, he warned that hard work alone may not be enough against someone like Joshua. Malignaggi said clearly that Anthony Joshua is still very powerful and should not be underestimated. He highlighted Joshua's strength, experience, and ability to handle pressure. His comments remind fans that confidence and promotion do not guarantee success in boxing. As the fight draws closer, attention continues to grow. Jake Paul's fame brings in casual fans, while Joshua's championship background attracts serious boxing followers. This mix of celebrity and elite boxing has created a fight full of excitement, risk, and technical challenge.
I wouldn't consider him shot or anything, and even a shot AJ would still, would still likely beat a Jake Paul in my eyes. But I don't necessarily see AJ as a shot fighter at all, And also, the thing about AJ is he's a rather serious guy. This is not Chavez Jr., So he takes anything he does very seriously. He's got a backbone to him. He's got a character to him. So, he's not going to let himself be clowned by, allowing Jake to survive or allowing Jake to play around or allowing Jake to, just make him look bad in general. So, that's the thing about AJ. If you know his character, I've worked a lot of AJ fights and I've been around AJ enough, to kind of observe his character. This is a very serious human being and man, So, and he takes this kind of stuff very personally and very seriously, So he's not going to be looking to make a mockery of himself. And so, from that perspective, I don't see a guy like AJ going easy on Jake at all.
He's going in there to knock him out, and anything less, it's going to be a disappointment to him. So does he knock him out?
I mean, yeah, he knocked out Ngannou, right? And I think most people would think Ngannou is better than Jake, right? I mean, you saw what he did to Ngannou. He cut through Ngannou like it was nothing, like a hot knife through butter. So yeah, I mean, I would expect nothing less. We'll see. We'll see how they go. I mean, obviously, you give Jake some credit for having the balls to do this. But then again, Jake is also doing what we all used to say when I was my age, and Shmo, you're a little younger than me. When we were kids, and we would joke around, and Mike Tyson was the big deal. We would all say, for $1 million, I get in the ring with Mike Tyson. Well, I guess for $90 million, Jake's gonna get in the ring with AJ. So I think that's what the equivalent of it is. So is it bravery? Or is it just, hey, you give me enough money, I'll do it?
The boxing world is filled with debate about the fight, with some questioning whether it should even happen. Promoter Eddie Hearn jokingly talked about banning Jake Paul, showing both humor and concern. Boxing journalist Gareth A. Davies called the fight a freak show, pointing out the danger to Joshua's legacy. He explained that a loss or injury could badly affect AJ's reputation. While Paul's rise is entertaining, the risks for Joshua are very real. These opinions show that the fight is more than just a show and carries serious consequences for a former world champion.
I am. I'm going out next week for 5 days.
You're looking forward to the event, and how does it sit with you as we kind of approach it?
Well, I've been hammered by Eddie Hearn and Nikisa Bidarian over my Telegraph columns on this. Mm-hmm. And I don't think I've said anything out of order or out of the ordinary, which is probably shouldn't be licensed. It's a very dangerous fight for Jake Paul. He's delusionally optimistic about this. Mm-hmm. He's probably too brave for his own good. Physically, I think it's a dangerous fight for him. I hope he gets hurt to the body and stopped, not knocked out horribly like Francis Ngannou was. I don't think it will be licensed in the UK. Imagine Tommy Fury, who beat him, getting licensed to fight Anthony Joshua in the UK. Couldn't see it. Spoke to Robert Smith of the boxing board, who said he wouldn't license it. And I also said that Anthony Joshua could destroy his legacy if something goes wrong, and perhaps it demeans boxing. I wrote those things in 2 Telegraph columns. Eddie Hearn said he was banning me, but thankfully I've got a credential.
It's not his show, is it?
It's not his show, it's MVP's show, and Nikisa Bidarian stuck it on me at the press conference out there a little bit, to said, why are you going against the promotion? All I said was, and I said it after the press conference, Anthony Joshua's taking this really seriously. Mm-hmm. It's a circus show. It's a freak show. We've seen this in boxing in the past. I don't see a way how Jake Paul wins, but I still need to be there. If the tree falls in the forest and you're not there to witness it, does it make a sound? So I'm looking.
While Jake Paul enters the fight full of confidence, the real pressure is on Anthony Joshua. Duke McKenzie and Johnny Nelson both said that Joshua has the most to lose. AJ must perform at his best while also protecting his legacy against an unpredictable opponent. Mackenzie highlighted the mental pressure, explaining that Joshua is being judged not only by fans, but by the entire boxing community. The balance between Joshua's experience and Paul's fearless confidence creates an interesting dynamic that makes this fight even more compelling.
1% of 1% think Jake Paul has got a chance. And anybody else that tells you differently, they're lying. They don't really think he's going to do it. So you're going to watch this to see, most people watch this to see Jake Paul get his arse given to him. In reality, and they'll also watch it to see how AJ is, because AJ, he's done it many times before. He's dropped the ball. He's not performed to the best of his ability, and lost or got knocked out. Daniel Dubois, Andy Ruiz. I think when he boxed Usyk, you can't blame him for that, because Usyk was outstanding. But he can do it. So people are thinking, you know what? His last fight we saw him on his face against Dubois, and so the question marks above AJ's head.
Right.
Which AJ will turn up, and even if the wrong AJ turns up, he should still beat Jake Paul. Now, if my worry is AJ going into the fight and underestimating Jake Paul, and it's hard. It's like you've boxed before, where your original opponent pulls out, they throw a standing in, and you think, and your performance is worse because you can't bring your A game to it, because you think, shit, the kid's not very good. You get rid of them, but it's harder than what it should be in real life. Right. And so I think with AJ, he'll struggle to respect Jake Paul as a threat. And so they're going to be watching AJ. And if Jake Paul gets 15 seconds of success, AJ is going to get vilified. AJ's, oh my goodness. So people are saying he wants to go out there and knock him out. No, he doesn't want to go out there and knock him out. He wants to teach this boy a lesson and torture him. If you're not into boxing and you're hearing this, you think, oh my God, it sounds barbaric. He needs to torture him. We spar with people where you just hit him, dig him in the ribs, and you let him off, leave him breathe a bit, dig him again, and you make him want to go down, and you punch him back up again. He needs to torture him. Right. So he says, no mas. No mas. That's what he needs to, and that way